Welcome back to the Run Dusty Run podcast, where runners from all over the world share their stories and running journeys. Along the way, we hope you'll be inspired, encouraged, and a community will be built. Today, we have a very special guest with a very special experience from this past weekend. Back fresh from the Boston Marathon, please welcome to the podcast, Meg Johnson. Meg, thanks so much for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here, Dusty. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, there is so much to get through, and we are so excited, and I am so excited for our listeners to just to hear from someone who's experienced Boston. I know a lot of us watched it on TV, but just to get some insight from someone who was there and actually participated in it as well. And we'll get to all that later. But as always, we have to put you on the hot seat here for an icebreaker round. Meg, if your running style were a vehicle, what would it be?
Well, I'd be a Jetta. I feel like I right now have a turbo engine Jetta. So when I'm driving it, I feel like I'm racing. So I kind of like zoom back and forth, and it's like a small, but like I think, I can get in between ahead of people fast. So I kind of feel like that in my car. So I feel like it's the same as what I'm driving.
Right on. Most annoying thing that runners do on race day, what is it?
Stop right in front of you while you're running. Because like, I don't know, other runners just coming to a complete stop.
You're running, you're in the middle of a race, and you see a hydration station up ahead. What what is it what is it that you're knowing that there's water there, but like what is it that you're secretly hoping they also have there?
Well, I rarely take the water, so I'm looking for I look for the second water station. I don't go to the one on the right because that comes first. I go to the second one because it's less crowded,
Uh-huh.
and I go straight to the electrolytes. And it was Gatorade at Boston, which I practiced with, so I was looking for it.
Biggest waste of money in the running world, what is it?
I would agree with some of your previous people. It's the clothes. The clothes are just you don't plan what you're going to wear on race day. Just trying to buy so many different ones that work for you, whatever you're going to wear. But even the expo kills you.
All right. Well, that response tells me I've got to mix up my icebreaker questions a little bit better. Well played. Well played. All right. Tell us about your most embarrassing or funniest running memory.
I know there's some good ones. Well, funny, I r- I run the Manchester Road Race almost every year, which is a huge. It's like the only race around here that's anything like a major. The crowds are like crazy, but it's like, and some pros and elites go to it. But it's Thanksgiving Day, and like along with it is also like people in costumes and like also mid distance runners or mid level runners. So we like to get a seed, so we're like in the middle, but like my friends and I get like dressed up in costume. And this year and last year we were a caterpillar all connected in a big tunnel of like those kid tunnels. We like five of us, and we ran the whole race one year, and then we ran it again the next year, added an extra person this year. So that's usually pretty fun. And before that, I went as Batgirl. So like that's like the fun running, and it's really funny because everyone is like drinking beer while they're running, and like you're like
Yeah.
having a great time, and it's not about the pressure; it's just about the fun.
So half marathon in a caterpillar suit.
It's a
Is that
4.78 distance.
okay?
It's a weird distance. It's a Manchester Road Race. It's like a 8K maybe around.
Okay. Very
But yeah,
cool.
up a hill, down a hill, through a bunch of
All
crowds.
right.
Yeah, super fun.
All right. Last one of the icebreaker round. If money and time are not a factor and you could run a marathon anywhere on the planet besides Boston, where are you running it?
Feel like London seems pretty cool.
London?
I
Okay.
haven't been out of the country like in Europe ever, so that would be cool.
All right. Well, you survived it. Well done. You did have a scouting report on my icebreaker question, so I need to mix those up for our next guest. I'll be sure to do that. So, well, thanks for joining us, and to our listening audience, just so that they know you did this on very short notice. I want to thank you for taking the time. Tell us Meg, let's back up a little bit before we get to your Boston experience this weekend. Tell us where you're from, what you do, and how in the world did you get into running?
Okay, so I grew up in Waterbury, Connecticut. Now I'm in Berlin, and I'm a school counselor for middle school. Also the cross country coach there right now. And I grew up my whole life being a swimmer. I was a swimmer in like elementary school, middle school, high school, and college for Fairfield University. I was a captain there, and that was my whole life. And then I did softball, and I was a pitcher, so I never really did running. But I ran. I was like fast around the bases and everything, and I was like, why did I never do running? But anyway, so as I got older, I ran for fitness and just for fun and with my friends, 5Ks. And then um, one of my friends said to me, like, I'm doing a half marathon. And I was like, well, I'm kind of more of a runner than her. Like, she could do a half marathon. I feel like I should try. But I was having some IT band stuff and I didn't know if I could do it. But I ended up doing the half marathon. And then my friend, who a lot of you might know, Adam, he's funny, but he's sarcastic. He's like, well, you're only half as good as everyone else then if you did a half. And I'm like, "Okay, well, thanks for that." So now the competitive side of me wanted to go further. So
Yeah.
during COVID is what kind of where I found the I Love to Run running page is when
Uh-huh.
I just decided, like, why not train for it and see what happens? And, so I did my first marathon as a virtual race in my neighborhood, which I scouted out the entire thing, had my friends waiting for me. My dad was the starter, and I clocked it in as the Hartford Marathon, and I was official back then.
Uh-huh.
But then I was like, "That's not really like a real race," and my knee hurt, like, and I limped through, like, the rest of the end of it after 19. So, of course, like all of us, you get like, "Well, I have to fix that, and I want it to be real this time." Like, you can't just do one. Like, okay, so now I have to
That's
do a
right.
real one. So then I did the Hartford Marathon the next year. I trained to do it, and I had bronchitis, like, 2 weeks before, and I was really fit, doing, like, a lot of, like, kinda, like, boot camp classes, and running was good, and I just went out with no strategy and, like, just felt really great and ran out hard and, like we all do, had a tough mile 20 and was about to pass out and was, like, just struggling to get to the end, and I was like,
Yeah.
"I can still get in under 4 hours." So I did, but then, of
Nice.
course, I wanna fix that one, so you go through the cycle and you wanna do it better, and so then I was getting closer to different age groups to closer to Boston, and actually,
Uh-huh.
so I waited a year and did it we'll focus on the half the next year. In 2023, that's when I had talked to Coach T actually and asked him
Uh-huh.
about, like, just race strategy and, like, he wrote me a plan, and I just wanted to get under the Boston time, and at that time, it was, um, a different age group, but also was like so I got in under the time, and I was excited, and, I qualified for Chicago, New York, and Boston with that time under the standards at 2023 in Hartford, but it was a minute too slow for Boston, so I ran Chicago, the next year, 2024, and, hoping that I was gonna get to Boston, and then it would be far enough away. And I had done the New York half, so I could have done New York, but I did Chicago and had a great time. Loved it. Awesome race. Had a great race. Came down and I did a Boston time there. So I got in, but I didn't know I got in because it was very close. It was close to the time I needed. And they moved the time 5 minutes faster. This for this race now for 2026. So I had at that point a 3:45:09, and I needed 3:50. And so then they moved it. No, I needed 3:55 because that was the age group I was in. And then they moved it to 3:50. And so then it was 4 minutes. So I actually got into Boston for this race on 17 seconds.
Wow.
That's how I got
17
in
seconds.
Chicago. 17, so it's like the 5-minute buffer, then the 4 extra, 4:34 extra, and my time was 3:45:09. But I had already signed up for New York through a cancer society. My mom had gotten sick, and then so I had done the half for them, and then she passed, last February, and I contacted them again. I said, "I wanna run New York with you." So I raised money for them, and I did New York, um, through with the American Cancer Society team, and that was after I knew I had qualified for 2026 Boston, and I had just heard so much about New York being a big party, and I was like, "I just wanna do this for so many reasons, for my mom,
Sure.
for the good, for, like, the party, like, let me just enjoy it,
Mm,
and then but also,
mhm,
like, if I feel like race strategy as I learn, like, the race strategy and then just if I feel good, end well. That's like every race now, my goal is start the race, finish the race, have a good race, and at the end, feel like you're passing everyone, like you're having a great time at the end of the race. That's like always
mhm,
now my goal. So New York, I was able to do that. I started out easy and I had negative splits. I was flying at the end and I was like, this is the best ever. And that time was better than my last time. So I was 4 minutes faster, and they allow you to update your times. For Boston, now
okay,
I was able to use my 3:41 time to get into the wave that matched with that. So that was pretty cool. But the hard thing was the turnaround. So I started training in June for New York and trained pretty hard all year, not knowing that I was into Boston, and then did New York, and then I had like a month of like just regular running, and then started right
mhm,
back up for Boston. And the New England winter was, like, brutal. I was like, "How did I ever decide to do this?" Um,
yeah,
I mean, like, it was like, "Do I go outside in the snow or do I run 17 miles on the treadmill in the gym?" And I don't have a treadmill in my house, so I did it at the gym when I could get there. So it was tough, but, it was amazing. So I was just so excited because the road to get there started in 2019, basically, as a
mhm,
half marathon, and then 2020, and then every year I was, like, so close, and then and that was the big thing about Boston. So, like, New York was the party that was amazing and huge, 59,000 people. Boston is like, I've been working to get to this start line for 6 years, and, like, everyone there is in the same place, and everyone
right,
watching knows that about you, and
mhm.
that's what made it feel so incredible from the start.
So, I think it's important for our listeners to know too, Meg, I think sometimes and I know I was guilty of this when I first started a few years ago, you know, turning on the TV, watching the Boston Marathon, or seeing people's posts on social media about New York or London or Tokyo, Berlin, whatever major, but especially Boston. Just realizing that those people didn't just get there in a year's time. They didn't just like take up running that year. For you, it was a 6-year journey to get there.
Yeah, like, it was like, the other ones are amazing too, but, like, I was like, "This is like all those other ones were for this one." Like, I set this
Uh-huh.
goal like, I was so close every time, the only reason I kept running them was to get to this point. So, I was get as it was getting closer, I was, like, so emotional. Like, I just have to get goal 1 was get to the start line without being injured.
Yeah.
Like, and my
Yeah.
dog, like, dropped a huge bone on my foot last week, and I was like, "What?" It caused a huge bruise, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
My goodness. Yeah, they're
So
not phantom injuries if they're real, right?
right. So, yeah, so, I mean, learning all but I think what I also feel like about Boston is once you get there, because you ran so many different races and learned so I've been like, all you learn from, like, all the other people on the Facebook pages, from
Uh-huh.
all the podcasts that I listen to of all the pros and all the everyone, like, everything you research and try through every race. I did something wrong, like, I could talk to you for 5 hours about all the things that I learned that didn't go well in another race that helped me learn what I should do in this race. So I feel like when you get to Boston,
Yeah.
you've tried so many things that you feel so comfortable in your own race
Mhm.
that I'm like, I'm not afraid of
Yeah.
those. I ran hills in every training. I'm like, I'm not afraid of the hills. I just need to plan for them, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So it was awesome. So when I was like standing there, like, it was like I never felt so emotional in a race. I was just like crying. I was crying the whole first mile.
Yeah. Hey, I would be too. Yeah.
I was standing there. They're literally at the start. They're saying to you, to everyone, "You've worked for this." Like they said
Yeah.
that on the speaker because most everyone does who's there, and they're like,
Mhm.
You ran the hard part already. Like you only have 26.2 miles to go." And you're
Yeah.
starting to walk and I was by myself really because I don't know anyone else who was in my place where I was that I'm
Mhm.
friends with. They can't even get in through charity, like, it's really hard. So I was, like, just
Right.
happy to be there, and, as I started going, I was, like I was looking around and I saw this one sign. The first sign I saw, this lady was holding a sign and it has a swear in it, but it's like, "You're running the Boston Marathon, like, right now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, I am doing it. I am doing it, it's happening," and you're
Yeah.
sitting there and you're, like, flooded, and I'm, like, crying. I'm, like, wiping tears as I run mile 1. You know, you're worried about the hill going down. I'm like, "No, I'm just worried about, like, not crying in the pictures." So I'm like, "Alright, stop crying. Like, just run." So I'm, like, so flooded
Yeah.
emotions. Great. Finally stop crying. At mile 7, there's a girl holding a sign that says, "Your mom is proud of you." And I just lost my mind.
Man.
And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're killing me, people." So I'm
Man.
crying again at mile 7, like, just of joy, emotion, disbelief, like, my mom's
Yeah.
proud of me, I'm proud of me, like, it's all coming together, I'm just so excited, and then, the course is very hilly, it's ups and downs, even in the beginning when they say it's downhill, there's ups, there's downs
Mhm.
everywhere. But, the weather was like I was actually said somewhere, like, "We went through the worst winter, like, I hope we're blessed with, like, a perfect weather day," and it was, like, 46.
Yeah.
I took a picture, it was 46
Nice.
degrees with sun
Nice.
and, like, no wind I think it's the wind is behind us, so I didn't really feel it behind me, but I didn't feel it in front of me. So, it was great. So, that was just so emotional, and as I'm running, I'm seeing all these people and these signs, and they're all, like, just so supportive and the college kids, like the Wellesley girls are screaming on the right, and then you got BC
Mhm.
and, I had a lot of friends ran, it's Chicago and Boston or in, New York, and I really didn't have any friends or family there. So
Mhm.
this time, like, a lot of people came out for me because it's like an hour and a half from my home, and,
Okay.
like, I knew I had people at Framingham, and so I started getting hot, I had these arm sleeves on, I paid, like, 20 bucks each, and I'm like, "Well, maybe I could just give it to them instead of chuck them," like,
Yeah.
so I like, "Hey," and then I throw in my arm sleeves, "Bring those home." But so it was hard because all these people come for 2 hours to see you, and you're like, "Do I am I supposed to hug every person I see? I also wanna have a good race." And I don't really know what to do, and then I was like my dad is like, "Well, I don't want you to just, like, have a good time, like, I want you to, like, have a good race too," and I'm like, "Alright, well, don't
Mhm.
expect me to hug you then." So I know a lot of people don't so, yeah. So it's really awesome seeing people you're, like, looking for them, but you're also, like you wanna make sure they feel special because 'cause they're there for you, but you're also, like,
Right.
this the Boston crowd also running it, I felt like there was more room to run. That was
Okay.
nice, and also there was, like everyone is running well. So, like, it's kinda like you don't wanna stop because everyone is disciplined and doing their thing, and so it wasn't as much stopping like other races I've seen, the
Sure.
big crowded ones, but it was just it was incredible. So then, like, down as you're finishing, coming down, heartbreak, you get over the top, tears again.
To our listening audience, what mile are you at this point,
Well,
Megan?
it's pretty funny because the hills start in Newton at 16. So I knew that's where like Heartbreak is like a series of 4 hills and the last one ends around I don't know, 21. Um it was like mile 20 to 21 where that was. But the funny thing is my friends called me and told me they were at the top of Heartbreak Hill. So I saw them and the hills they say are, like, not that big, but, like, it's where they're placed in the race, so you kinda don't try
Sure.
to hold back a little, and then once you get over the hills, you could, like, fly. Well, so I was going up a big hill, pretty good hill, and then I saw them, and I was like, "Did I just finish Heartbreak?" And then I was like, "But I didn't see the
Mm.
sign. I don't know if that was Heartbreak or not." Like, I don't they weren't, like, so clearly defined 4 hills.
Mhm.
So then I see them, and then all of a sudden I go up the hill, and that's Heartbreak. So that was like I was like, "Oh, here it is. This one was more steep."
Yeah.
So they didn't know for sure where they were, I guess. And then we
Yeah.
got to the top, and then I got to the top, and that's where there's a sign that says, like, you just, like, whatever, did Heartbreak Hill. And so then I was like, "All right, now I can kinda know that I did the hard part," and I'm crying again because 'cause I'm,
Mhm.
like, so emotional that I got through it. And then you start feeling like you go faster, but there are some more hills after that. So that's the part that, like, you're like, "All right, I'm ready to go," but so and my family, they're, like, calling me, "Mom!" My daughter, my son, they're, like, in their 20s, and they
Yeah.
never come to this stuff, and my husband's like, "What is this is great." I'm like, "I've done these, like, where are you guys
Yeah.
at?" And, they're like, "We're right at the Sicko sign at mile 26." I'm like, "That's where everyone
Wow.
is, like, how am I gonna find you?" So, I'm trying to scan for them, but enjoy this moment of this humongous sicko sign is like
Yeah.
mile to go. When you see a sicko sign, you're supposed to be like, there's 1 mile. And so I saw them and then I just took off. And then I knew up ahead, there was like, you take a right onto Hereford and left onto Boylston. And once you know you're like on that memorable, iconic moment,
Yeah.
I just turned the corner, like hugged it real tight. And then I started running down Boylston. And again, there's like this emotion, like I'm actually doing it. Be I'm going to finish. I'm going to like
Yeah.
and I was feeling so strong that I was just like I saw a sign that said "Rip it," like, right before that. I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And I was, like, crying, and I was, like, passing people, and I'm like this, and I'm getting all these pictures now of me, like, having these moments with them, like, crying and, like,
Yeah.
it was just so exciting.
So
Amazing.
you're going down, you get to that Sitco sign that is so iconic, as you said, and well known. What are, the smiles and just that reality that you're about to do this? What's going through your mind?
Well, I couldn't believe how big the sicko sign was, first of all. I didn't realize it was it was humongous. It's like, the thing is the size of a building.
Yeah.
I was just like, all these years, like, you did it. Like, you reached this goal. I've never had a goal that I set that far in advance and tried so hard and, like,
Mhm.
didn't make it at first, like everyone
Mhm.
says, like, you make it, but you're not in, it's like nobody gets that
Yeah.
about you can't just sign up. You can't even just qualify and get in. You have to qualify and then meet the buffer, which it's really hard,
Right.
and people get mad about it, and it's like but also, like, it's that much sweeter because it was so hard,
Sure.
I feel
Yeah.
like, and
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I was like, I cannot believe I'm doing this, and I'm here, and I made it, and I can now wear the clothes I bought because I finished. I can
Yeah,
wear
it's
my jacket.
justified. Yeah, yeah.
I got my jacket, which is, like, the embroidered one this year, it's really cool.
The real deal.
Yeah,
Very cool.
so, yeah, and
Yeah,
I it was amazing.
I had a chance to see some of the pictures that you sent over, just kind of that real raw emotion, and it looked like those were toward the end, right?
Yeah, the ones that were, like, the finish line, like, right before the
Yeah, yeah, I
finish.
guess they were finish line photos. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
Bo well, there was Boylston, which was the whole
Okay.
street, and that was the street where I also sometimes sometimes I feel like I'm always finishing like this, like, I'm like, my face is all scrunched and working hard. I'm like, lately, I'm like, "Work hard," but then at the end, like, really, like, have a good end.
Yeah,
Don't worry about racing to the minute, and just, like,
yeah.
enjoy the finish, especially for this one. You wanna remember that.
Yeah, and you definitely want good pictures, right? Like, it always cracks me up in some marathons, of course, I haven't ran Boston, but, how people will actually kinda slow down at the finish line so that other people aren't in their photo, just so it's them and they can, they look like they're dying, and then they just strike that perfect pose with no one else around because they sandbag to let everybody else finish ahead of them.
Was gonna say, I think when you've had enough bad photos where, like, you're in a crowded like, New York was so crowded that every picture, someone else was ruining it, that you actually try to take space. Actually,
Yeah,
Boston this year had they had more wave they had 1 more wave, so they were more
okay,
spread out. Instead of 5, I guess, they had
yeah,
6, so to spread people out more, so maybe that
yeah.
helped as well with pictures.
Yeah, it's Boston. You stand still and let everybody else clear out if you need to. It's Boston. You gotta make that count.
That's right. It's like
So tell us, Meg, you crossed the finish line. You did it. Avi, just tell us what that's like as you cross the finish line. You're going. You're on your way to get that medal. Just tell us, walk us through what that looked like from the time you crossed the finish line until you found your family.
Well, I did. I started crying and I'm like, all right, that's why I took a little video of myself. I'm like, all right, I'm actually crying because I actually did it. Like I did it. Like it just kept like saying that to myself. Like I felt so I don't know what the word is, but just like fulfilled. Like I actually like this was the goal. And I was like, I don't know what I'll do after this. Like I don't really feel like I'm gonna be a marathoner forever. I only wanted to do it once. And then I set this goal and now I did it. Like so now I can do anything I want, but like I could forever have this unicorn for me, like that I did this. So that was what I was feeling right away. And then was just walking and, it takes a little while to get your gear bag. My friends were calling me. I met up with them there's like a station, like like a, family meetup with your
Uh-huh.
letters. You go to that, and I found my friends there. My family was waiting at another spot, and they were just like my kids are just really it's exciting because they're 20, 20 and 23. They're just like so
Mhm.
it's exciting to have them support me because I've been like, going to their stuff
Yeah.
for years and like they actually are like, man, like you're doing really good. Like that's pretty cool. My friends think you're
Yeah.
badass,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just nice to be able to have that because they don't always see, and sometimes they do. I mean, I'm up at 5. Today you're like, I'm available this week because I'm literally resting and I've been committing
Yeah.
so much of my time to it that it's nice to not. But I think it's nice for them to see why I do all that. Like, not like what it results in and how you can set a goal and achieve it and be so proud. And I think my family was really impressed with just the marathon atmosphere, like, how
Yeah.
inspirational it is. They say, like, you know, if you wanna fulfill restore your faith in humanity, go watch a marathon. Everybody's so positive and
Uh-huh.
supportive, and people that are struggling are inspired by the people cheering for them, and then, just
Mhm.
to see that your family member is, like, doing this big, iconic thing that has everyone has so much respect for is just really nice for me, for my family too, to see that.
For sure. Did you get a chance I know before we started recording, you mentioned something about being a little starstruck. Did you get a chance to see any celebrities or any people of celebrity status?
That was like I was shaking, I was so excited. I, like, planned my expo stuff around meeting people I've been following, and I've been, like, so excited. So I got there early so I could see Connor Mance and Laura Green, who I love her from Instagram, and we went to his show, and then, like, at the end, we got to, like, talk, and I was like, "Hey, from Connecticut." I'm like, "Manchester Road Race," because he ran it, and we, like, give
Okay.
like, I didn't even tell him my name. I'm like, "Who He doesn't care about my name. But, like, I was, like, thinking, and then I went to go meet with her, and she was like, "I thought people only wanted to meet Connor." I'm like, "No," I'm like, "You're a fan too." And so that was, like, exciting that day, and then I really wanted to I've been following a lot of Clayton Young, all of his episodes, on YouTube, and so the next day I went to the Fan Fest to try to see when the pros would show up there, and, that's a whole thing.
Uh-huh.
The Fan Fest is, another event that you can go to, and all the girl pros were there. Like, a lot of the pros from Americans, were there who I've been also
Uh-huh.
listening to on podcasts and following them in all the races. And so they were taking a group picture, and I was like it was like Emily Sisson and Jess McLean and all the other one who else was there? Susanna Sullivan and Dakota Poplin. And so I, like, recognized them, and I'm like, they're getting in a picture, and I'm like, "Oh, can I take this picture too?" And they're like, "Why don't you come in with me with us?" And I was like, "Me
Wow.
and all of them." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm with all of them." So then I'm like, "Well, I'm kinda mad that Clayton Young isn't here and Zuhair, Talbi, I wanted to see them." So I went and was sitting down having, like, some food, and my friends went somewhere. They're like, "Megan," they're like, they're right there talking. And so I was like, "What?" So I'm like,
Wow.
it's like they're to me, they were like rock stars, I'm like, "Oh my god." So I went
Yeah.
over, and then I got to meet Clayton Young and Zuhair, and I was like, "I just watched your podcast." And it was, like, so exciting to see all them because you watch the race, and then you get to hear about their races in the podcast, and
Mhm.
then to meet them and be like, "Good luck," and, like, I just didn't even
Yeah.
like, I could talk to them because I was so, like, starstruck in some ways because I watched them
Uh-huh.
so much. So that was really cool because you don't get that around here. You gotta go to the sort of the big ones to see them, and I
Right.
didn't really see them. So that was fun. Really exciting part of the
Very, very
thing.
cool.
Yeah.
So, are you still wearing your medal, like, from Monday?
I'm not wearing it, but it's been in my
But it
pocket a
can't be
lot.
that far away. Look at that. That is incredible.
Yeah, it's all golden for 30th. Um, I've been
Very cool.
I'm a school counselor, so my students, I've been talking about it with them, and
Yeah.
You know, they always ask, "Did you win?" There's always that. I'm like, "I won a
Did you
medal.
win? Yeah,
I won a medal."
that's right. Did you win? Yeah. Yes, I did. It's been 6 years. Yes. That's so cool. What an incredible story of perseverance and grit over 6 years. It gives people like me hope for sure. So what's next?
Well, it's funny because, I was afraid right before the race. Like, I feel like I was gonna say I was gonna be done, but I am concerned that I'm gonna like it too much because I could probably get in for next year. So I'm like, well, I have till September to decide that, I guess. But
Okay.
I have a run club at school, and I'm gonna start doing that with the kids, and maybe, like, I race them
Mhm.
in the 5K. Sometimes I give them like, a prize if they could beat me.
Okay.
Like, I'll be like, "Anyone who could beat Mrs. Johnson gets a prize," and then they're getting too fast, so now I'm like, "Oh, what am I gonna do?" I'm, like, dying next to these kids trying to get the 5K. So, I'll start with the 5K. I don't really like 5Ks though, because they're too hard. I'll probably get back into halves and, 10Ks and think about maybe Boston, we'll see. It's hard to
Okay.
turn it down.
So very cool. So you're gonna have students now who are gonna go home and brag to their parents that they beat a Boston marathoner in a
Right,
race.
right.
Very cool. Hey, and I'm also with you on the 5K. Those are the scariest races in existence for me because I have no plan. I just like run like a psychopath. No strategy, no plan. Feel like I'm dying for 100% of the race.
Yes. Yes. Well,
Yeah.
even if you do make a plan, it doesn't work the same way. If you go out
Yeah.
too hard, then you die, but if you go out too easy, you don't get a fast time, so
Yeah.
I
There's no
just
time to adjust. Like it's just
no.
everything at once. Yeah.
It's like I feel like I run those too, like, till I feel like I'm gonna puke, you're like you said, you're just, like,
Uh-huh.
racing, your heart rate is so high, it's a very different experience than,
Yeah.
marathon or a half where you could start out and you're pretty comfortable in your heart rate and you feel good, so
Mhm.
that's the challenge, it's balancing.
Yeah. So this is marathon number, what number marathon is this for you, Meg?
This was 6. So I
Number
did
6. Okay. So tell us throughout this Boston Marathon journey that really, as you said, goes back to 2019, correct?
2020 was the first marathon, so yeah.
2020. Okay. So this journey of 6 plus years, tell us what maybe the most valuable lesson you've learned over that span of time has been. What is it that this running journey has taught you?
Well, there's been some really tough times in my life, and some of it was other things besides my mom, but, like, I feel like times can get really tough and uncomfortable, and it taught me to just push you could push through uncomfortable. Like, you can keep working. Get comfortable with uncomfortable is kinda how a lot of the training runs are, like the tempo runs and the interval runs and, like, you feel like you can't do anymore, but you keep going. And I feel
Mhm.
like that's what a marathon does for you. It teaches you that you can do more than you thought you could. And I feel like it's always given me strength and, like, I just know, like, it feels like you could get through hard times, you could get through hard things, and you're stronger than you think you are. And I feel like if you do the training, you will do the race. Like, you will not allow yourself not to because you committed so much to it. But
Yeah.
in life, like, you have to get through hard things and you will. If you just self-talk is a big part. Actually, Connor Mance shared his mantra at the expo, and it's pretty cool. She asked him if he had a mantra, and he said, "I can do this." That's what he says over and over.
Mm.
That's the kind of thing that, like, if you keep telling yourself, like, "You got this. You can do it." Like, it's hard, but you're doing it. And I actually have a tattoo that I got my first marathon on my arm that says, "Run the mile you're in." And
Yeah.
I got it for about everything at that time that I was going through, like, it was, like, one day at a time, and so in a marathon, you can't think about the miles 5 miles ahead, you have to think about the one you're in right now, and I feel like that applies to life, and I talk to my students about that and, like, just you can't really you just can only focus on how you're managing right now, and then keep going
Yeah.
when things are really hard.
Yeah. So we have in our listening audience runners that are all really in all different parts of, I mean, I'm sorry, listeners who are really, their journeys look so different, so all over the board. Some are aspiring to be Boston marathoners one day. Others are getting ready for their first marathon or first half marathon. Someone reached out to me just about a week ago that says, "Hey man, talk me through how to get through my first 5K." So for those new folks who are really just maybe on the fence about getting started in their running journey, I mean, from the very ground level, what advice would you give?
Yeah, I feel like Running, like, I think when everyone first starts, they just go out one day and they try to go, like, hard, like it's a workout. I feel
Mhm.
like and I did this too, and I would try to go faster every time, and I was, like, sprinting through the neighborhood, and I didn't know what I was doing. So
Oh,
I feel like the best advice that I tell new runners is to just, like, run comfortably and easy and, like and then you'll like it better, and then you'll start
mhm,
to, like, feel like you could build from there. And I feel like the balance has been what keeps me injury free, like making sure that you're not just running is not just running. Like the more you run, the more you have to do all the other things. So my training has always been a balance. And now with the last 3 marathons, I'm not injured. And it's because I feel like I'm balancing like just making sure you're getting strong. You know, you're doing some
mhm.
things to be strong and strength training or whatever it is, if they're newer, yoga, mobility is like a big part of what I do. It's like stretching and, once a week, I'm always doing something like that. So, I know everyone can't fit all that stuff in, but like maybe before or after you run, like just make sure that you're stretching out and you're not just like sprinting and then leaving and everything just tightens
Mhm.
up. And then I, you, I had a friend of ours was like, "Oh, I just ran 5K every day and tried to go faster," and he was like, he was done in a week because his knee was
Yeah,
shot. So like we have to start small. Just do a
yeah.
little
I'm
more.
only
Do one
laughing,
rep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, only laughing because 'cause we've all been there. I am embarrassed I've shared it so many times on here. I started doing the same thing, and I laugh because, like, it seems to make sense when you're doing it at the time. Just go a little bit further, a little bit faster. Yeah, until you're about a week in and you're like, "This is miserable. How do people enjoy doing this?"
Right, and those
So,
people don't enjoy running because it's not fun at all, and that when you feel like that.
right. Well, Meg, this has been a blast. I appreciate you taking the time to join us. I appreciate you sharing your story. Looking forward to future social media posts of just how incredible that weekend was, and just thank you for the inspiration you are, and just the way you continue to encourage myself and countless others in the running community. And just thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Of course, thanks so much for having me. It was fun talking about it with you.
You bet. This has been the Run Dusty Run podcast with Boston marathoner Meg Johnson. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Run Dusty Run podcast, where we continue to encourage you to keep showing up and keep going.